What's up guys, Brett Medlock here, and I wanted to talk about a game called Dynasty Warriors Godseekers for the PlayStation Vita. This game is also out on the PS4, but I personally only played on the PlayStation Vita and did not get the chance to play on the console, so I'll be talking specifically about the Vita version in this review. A disclaimer, I have not beat the game, I'm only 3 or 4 hours in, but I just wanted to give you my quick little review, because there's so many games flying in these days that I just want to give you guys my quick little thoughts on games like this, because I know I'm not going to finish them, I just don't have the time, there's too much coming out. The first thing I noticed that I actually didn't know before jumping into the game was that it wasn't the typical Dynasty Warriors game. I don't really enjoy the Dynasty Warrior games for what they are, just the hack and slash, like kill thousands of enemies. It's not really my type of gameplay that I enjoy, so I was pleasantly surprised when I jumped into this one, because I had not looked up any prior information about it, and it's a turn-based strategy game, and I actually didn't know that, and I just think that's really awesome that they took the series to this style of gameplay. First thing I noticed that I just want to mention is that there's no English VO, so if you like English words in your games, this is not the game to go to. It's all in Japanese with subtitles. Second off, the gameplay grid that you use in the game is really similar to Fire Emblem. This game overall just screams Fire Emblem. Like even the way the blocks are colored red and blue, and it says player's turn and then enemy's turn. You can tell that this game took a lot of notes from the Fire Emblem book. And I think that's really awesome considering we haven't had any really types of games like Fire Emblem on a PlayStation handheld in the past. One thing to note though is that when you fight people, it doesn't go into like that cinematic turn-based fight sequence that Fire Emblem does. Which I was a little upset about because I actually really like that about the Fire Emblem series. It just stays like over his head and he does a quick little attack and then it's over. So like overall I don't get much of a AAA feel to the gameplay. It seems like it's more of a dumbed down version of something like Fire Emblem. But some people don't really like watching those. A lot of people actually turn off those fight sequences, in fact. So if that doesn't bother you, then that's good for you. One thing that I really liked that was different from the Fire Emblem games that I've played, but then again I'm not up to date on all the Fire Emblem games, is that you can actually attack more than one group of enemies in one turn. So let's say there's a group of people behind you and in front of you, you can attack them and then turn around and attack the other people, and I just really like that. So as I mentioned before, the game doesn't really give off a AAA quality like to the gameplay, but as for the cutscenes, they are really pretty and I really enjoyed watching them. It's really rare to see quality of the animations and the cutscenes this well in a PlayStation Vita game. This game is also on PS4, and so it does make sense that they're in this version. But I actually really enjoyed watching them. It just reminded me of like PS1 days where like Final Fantasy games have like really long cutscenes and you get to soak them in and really enjoy like all the work put into the animations. So when it comes to the negatives I have with the game, the textures aren't great when it comes to the graphics. Surprisingly up close, like when the camera would zoom down on your character during attacks, it would look better than it was when it was far away, which is usually the opposite with a lot of games. Usually when you get closer, the graphics look worse, and when you get further away, the graphics look better. But for this game, it's the opposite. And the story didn't really pull me in that much, but like I said, I haven't really enjoyed any of the Dynasty Warriors games, so there's probably a lot of lore that I'm missing out on, and a lot of like throwback mentions that I have no idea what they're about. From a standpoint of just now jumping into the series, story didn't really interest me that much, unfortunately. And aside from that, it doesn't really run great on the PlayStation Vita. It's not as bad as previous games that I've seen that have been PS4 or PS Vita like ports. It just looks a little wonky and it plays a little odd sometimes. You'll see some slowdown and stuff like that, but it's not horrible, so I won't really take off points for that because I'm just glad it came to the Vita. A lot of developers are starting to skip out on the Vita, which makes total sense. The handheld is really old now. I'm surprised it's actually still getting as much third-party support as it's getting, so hang in there, Vita. But anyway, the game is really fun. I really like the gameplay. It scratches that Fire Emblem itch for PlayStation owners. So if you like Fire Emblem but you don't own a Nintendo console, maybe this game will scratch that Fire Emblem itch for you. So that's all I really have to say about it. Let me know if you're picking up this game in the comments. Leave any suggestions in the comments below for games you want me to review. I will talk to you guys later.